Stop grumbling among yourself. Jesus answered, No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws them, and I will raise them up at the last day. Guys, can we also go down? This one was taken from the Gospel of John 6, but can we also go down verse 64? Yet there are some of you who do not believe. For Jesus had known from the beginning which of them did not believe and who would betray him. He went on to say, This is why I told you that no one can come to me unless the Father has enabled them. Okay, guys, so we are concluding now. We are finishing. I'm trying, guys, to let you understand that Jesus spoke the way he spoke because he was not begging anyone. He chose his words carefully. I want you to understand that, guys. He chose his word carefully. In fact, he said that whatever my Father told me, I am now telling you. Meaning, even Daddy chose his word carefully. So when he said those words, he knew that if people stick to those words, obviously many will realize, damn, this man is not begging anyone. So the first part where I quoted from, it was John telling the brood of vipers that you cannot claim that you are children of Abraham, because out of these stones, God can raise up children for Abraham. You see, guys, the people of Israel, they really disobeyed Daddy. Those brood of vipers, those obstinate, stiff-necked people, they really disobeyed Daddy because they thought they will eat. Oh, because we are physical children of Abraham, we can just do whatever we want to do to this guy. We can just treat God anyhow, not realizing, guys, that you can't do that to Daddy. You guys, you just cannot do that to Daddy because he knows those who are his. That's why even if we read the part, where he says that the Lord knows those who are his, and then he says anyone who names on Christ should stay away from iniquity. Because, guys, you need to stay away from sin. You see, guys, the wolves, there are two types of wolves. Even though there are three, according to the Gospel of Matthew 13, Jesus explains them. And the guy also spoke about it in December, I think it was 2023. I was speaking about a different kind of wolves. But you see here, I'm also, categorizing them as well. You see, you must realize that there are wolves that don't claim to be in Jesus. Meaning there are wolves that don't even bother trying to go to church and appear as Christians and not do what he says. Meaning not believe his teachings. Because in churches you'll think, oh wow, there is a church in my neighborhood, so God has come to my neighborhood. When you really get inside, they are praying to Mary. That one is not in line with the word now. Oh, they say there is no hell. Oh, that one is not in line with the word now. Oh, they claiming that we should be running after riches and the things of the world and once saved, saved forever, meaning we shouldn't stop sinning. Oh, that one is not in line with the word now. They are telling us to worship God together with ancestors. Oh, that one is not in line with the word now. They are telling us that God is still writing more books. But Jesus told John in the book of Revelations, no one should add or omit. You understand? So in churches, these are different kind of wolves. The wolves that want to appear as sheep. That's why Jesus says you will know them by their fruit. Because Jesus is like, you cannot tell, you cannot tell of them because you can't see them. Jesus and Daddy are the only ones who can see them. But he's saying, I'm giving you signs though. By this you will know, So there are wolves that don't even bother. You see, guys, let me tell you a story. I'm going to be as short as possible, give a short version as possible because, guys, you've got other things to do, So I remember I had this friend. This friend was living with the aunt and she was explaining something to me because of what I had told her. So she said her aunt, when the aunt was young, used to go to Pentecostal churches. I want you to get this very well first. Pentecostal churches back in the days when the gospel came to different nations or countries, they preached the word. They will first preach salvation, meaning get saved. which was right. Secondly, people were supposed to separate sin, meaning you'll stop loving money, you'll stop loving things. And I remember when I was young also, because my friend was explaining that when she was young as well, she used to see people going to Pentecostal churches, and those who had boyfriends would break up with their boyfriends because they couldn't have sex anymore because of being saved. You understand? So it was a well-known thing that when you are saved, you don't have sex outside marriage. So when the gospel came to our country, this was well known. So salvation, should I say, Pentecostal churches really stick to the word. You understand? They really did. You understand? They really tried. You understand? But I think they realized that, if we are going to stick to the word, people are not going to come to salvation churches. So they changed. And now they started preaching that you must run after riches, you must run after the things of the world, you are blessed, and once saved, saved forever. So wolves came, like a flood, flooding in Pentecostal churches. And by doing so, guess what? Jesus now has to get his own out of those churches. You understand? And my friend was explaining that her aunt, when the aunt was young, she had siblings. And also, as I said, back in the days when Pentecostal churches, were spreading out, they also preach that people shouldn't worship God together with ancestors. You see, guys, with African people, they love ancestors. Oh, African people love ancestors. Guys, this is my family. They love ancestors so much. I just don't do them, but they do ancestors, you understand? And they know me. With me, guys, I don't talk too much. I won't beg chats, whatever. You do you, I do me. You understand? I respect your deeds, respect my deeds. You know what I mean? So, African people love ancestors. Sometimes I laugh about it, but back in those days when Pentecostal churches were spreading out in our country, so this was also well known. Now, the family of the aunt of my friend, worshipped ancestors. So the aunt decided to stop going to Pentecostal churches at that time because she was fighting with her siblings, her parents, you understand? Because the parents were really into worshipping ancestors and everything. And they were like, why will you stop worshipping ancestors? Because of the Bible and everything, So she felt alone. She felt as if like she is an outsider. So what did she do? She went to one of the churches I will not mention. She went to another church, a church that believes in ancestors. Why am I bringing this up? I'm trying to explain to you that these churches were opened by people who realized that, if we stick to the word, we're not going to have followers. So let's tweak, you understand? Let's change a bit about it so that we can accommodate people. Let's change what Jesus is giving us so that people can come to our churches as well. Because if we continue preaching Jesus' word, Jesus' preaching, we're gonna be left with no followers. Now no one is going to attend. I don't know, guys, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So these churches were like that, but apparently Pentecostal churches as well changed. As you can now see that they are the worldliest church ever. In fact, if you listen to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul is explaining the fact that Satan will sit in the body of Christ. Who is the body of Christ? A body of Christ, guys, is one who gets saved. So Satan is saying that Satan will sit in the body of Christ, and he calls Satan a man of lawlessness, meaning that once he sits in these people who once were saved, they will now change the word and no longer follow Jesus's beliefs, meaning they will not obey his laws. That's why Paul calls him the man of lawlessness. Guys, please go to 2 Thessalonians 2. In fact, I also made a series as well. I usually make a lot of series, so I made a series. I was speaking about a beast according to my Lord, according to Paul, according to John, and according to Daniel. You understand? Because they're speaking about the same thing, speaking about what is happening in churches. You understand? So Paul was explaining that he is called the man of lawlessness, and he called Satan that because he said he will sit in the body of Christ, meaning people who had previously accepted salvation, but he will make sure that they don't obey God's commands. As you find Pentecostal churches, preach that we should love the things of the world. They're calling them blessings. They say once saved, saved forever. So they no longer obey Jesus' teachings. They continue in sin and still go to church. That's what Paul was talking about. And Paul said that the moment he himself dies physically, the moment he leaves earth, Satan will start entering the body of Christ, meaning Pentecostal churches, and then he will make sure that people don't obey God's laws. You understand? That's why Pentecostal churches now are like this. You understand? People are spiritually dead because after knowing the truth, they were the ones who really, took the Bible and believed in salvation and went about. You understand? But if Paul says this thing is going to happen, it happened. You understand? My Lord spoke about it in the Gospel of Matthew 24. He says those days would be so hard that even the elect, if it were possible, will not survive. You understand? Meaning that even the elect will be deceived. And guys, believe me, the elect, some elect, maybe 3 or 4, are stuck in churches trying to understand what is going on. Wait a minute. Why are they preaching riches? Why should we love the things of the world? The Bible is not in line with that. You understand? Wait a minute. Why are they saying there is no hell? The Bible is not in line with that. Wait a minute. Why are they telling us to, to pray to Mary? Why are they telling us that God works together with ancestors? You understand? So they are confused. Why are they still writing more books when the Bible is already concluded? You understand? So the elect are also confused. They don't know. So Jesus did say that the elect, if possible, will also be deceived. You understand? So it's things like that. What I'm trying to say, guys, is that God is not begging anyone. He already knows those that are his, because the elect were chosen before the creation of the world, and he spoke the way he spoke, harsh like that. It's because he wanted to reveal, you understand, the wolves. Because you see, guys, when you preach lies and you say pray to Mary, wolves love that. Church will be a den of hypocrites. You understand? If you tell them to love riches, my flesh love riches now. My flesh, guys, love sex outside marriage, and it wants to hear that God will forgive. You understand? My flesh loves to run after money because I want to be called a success story. When I pass by, I want people to say, wow, did you see her? Did you see her car? Did you see where she lives? You know what I mean? Do you know her carrier? You know what I mean? Because I want people to brag about me. My flesh wants that. That is the last of the flesh. You understand? So when you're preaching those lies, you are keeping hypocrites. Hence, guys, in churches, particularly if you go to mega churches, you'll find that this is the worldliest church. You look at the cars they are driving, you go and see the houses they live in. They live in upmarket, upscale houses because they say God has blessed us. You understand? They are busy preaching land flowing with milk and honey. Why? They are keeping wolves, brood of vipers. They open those churches and are keeping wolves. It's a den. You understand? So you find that they are preaching these beliefs that are not in line with the word because they want to keep these wolves. So Jesus was clear, was harsh, and he says that if they hated my message, they hate yours. Why are people loving churches' messages? It's because pastors are not in line with what Jesus was teaching us. You understand? So I'm trying to explain, guys, that Daddy knows those that are his. That's why I gave you that example of the aunt, because the aunt left at that time. The Pentecostal churches were right, but now they are stinking like other churches as well, rotting like other churches as well. You understand? But She left in order to find a church that was in line with what her family wanted, that was in line with what other people wanted. Jesus says, I did not come to bring peace on earth, but to divide the family. The aunts did not want to be divided by Jesus. Guys, there comes a time where Jesus divides. He divided me, and I let him. I allowed him to do that because he says, I did not come to divide. He says, I did not come to bring peace, but to divide the family. And when that time comes, let him be. Why? He knows that are his. Until next.